Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am your host, Jake Lewis, and on this podcast we would normally be covering the Deep Blue Sea trilogy, one DVD chapter at a time. We've done all of that. That's finished. You can get back and listen to all three of those films. You should. It's great. But for now, season 4, my regular co-host Mark is taking a brief paternity leave. And in the meantime, I'm looking at Deep Blue Sea adjacent films that I am less familiar with that have cropped up during the course of the show. And this week is Under Siege. We're heading out to sea for Under Siege. It's the only kind of adjacency we need here is, hey, it takes place on the water. That'll do. So what is Under Siege? Well, it was released in 1992. It's directed by the Fugitives' Andrew Davis and stars Steven Seagal as Casey Ryback, a former Navy SEAL turned Navy cook who is aboard the USS Missouri on her final voyage with nuclear weapons aboard. They're about to be removed, but as per President George H.W. Bush's orders. And wouldn't you know it, on that final voyage, they get hijacked by Tommy Lee Jones as a rock star harmonica player, and hilarity ensues. Only Casey Ryback can save the day. So I need someone who is... I have technically seen Under Siege before, long time ago. I can only remember that at one point Gary Busey is in drag. That was my sole memory of Under Siege. So I needed someone to come back who more familiar with the film, wants to talk about the film, and he's our first repeat guest for this fourth season. Actually, I say that's not true. Jess Manzo was our first repeat guest because she did 47 Meters Down and the sequel, but we recorded those in the same session, so it doesn't feel like a repeat guest. This is a guy who did a show, went away, and then came back again for another show. From Simplistic Reviews, it's DJ Valentine. DJ, welcome back to the show.
I had a whole speech prepared about how honored I am, but now, screw it. Apparently, I'm not even the first fact. I'm just a guy that left and came back. I'm like a kid you sent off to college. This is horrible.
Well, you didn't have to come back, so we appreciate that you did come back. You were here.
You know I had to come back, just like the kid from college. Mom, I need to do my laundry.
Well, you were here last time to talk about Cliffhanger, Die Hard on a Mountain, so it seemed apt to bring you back for Die Hard on a Boat.
When I was last on with you, we were talking about I think I'm doing a separate podcast on your podcast. You're doing Deep Blue Sea adjacent. I'm doing Die Hard adjacent at the same time.
I don't know if the show Die Hard on a podcast exists that just looks at all of the different Die Hard.
I'm writing that down to trademark.
Yeah, all the different like Die Hard rip-offs that came out afterwards. But I feel like if it doesn't exist, it should do.
Well, we did say, I think on the Cliffhanger one day, the Cliffhanger, Speed, and Under Siege are amongst the best of the clones, the Die Hard clones. And when I started watching it, since I hadn't seen it in a while as well, I got a fugitive feel when the title sequence started, and then with the music and credits, and I knew Tommy Lee was in it, but I had forgotten that Andrew Davis directed this, who directed The Fugitive. And then several cast members from The Fugitive started showing up, and I'm like, that's the guy, Newman, that's the MP, and that's the cop that arrests Kimball, and that's the prisoner that's trained to... I'm like... we just did this sketch. Is Fugitive just slowly taking over my being, my brain, my mind?
Yeah, you recently had me record some audio for a sketch as Scrooge playing the
what's his name? The evil doctor.
The evil doctor, rather. Is it Jerome Crabb, I think? The actor's name. Playing that role. So, okay, fine. And then here you are to talk about the film the guy made before he... directed Tommy Lee Jones to an Oscar in The Fugitive.
What I'm saying is this a prequel to The Fugitive? I know it doesn't make sense. Maybe Tommy Lee, maybe Gerard had like a twin brother, or...
I was going to say, it's not the same character. that is Gerard? A given.
Is it Gerard? No.
Events transpire that Tommy Lee Jones's character could not.
You don't know for certain, okay? Medical miracles happen all the time.
He takes a knife to the head.
And becomes a U.S. Marshal. And look, it happens, okay? It happens.
It's rare. It's rare.
You know how good Casey Ryback is? He can stab you in the head and miss every vital organ.
So this is... I say this is my second time seeing this film, technically. This is only the second Steven Seagal film I've seen.
Wow.
I've only seen this and Machete.
First off, Machete is not a Steven Seagal film. Machete is a movie where Steven Seagal is in.
That's what I'm deeming a Steven Seagal film, but you're correct. I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, the Steven Seagal film, Machete. No, I think, okay, in which case, Under Siege is the only quote-unquote Steven Seagal film I've seen. What else should I be looking at?
Well, we did a commentary on one of the greatest Steven Seagal films of all time, though I think this might be the most not critically, but like most people know Under Siege. But I think his coolest performance, even though this is the most light performance, is a movie called Hard to Kill, where he says the greatest catchphrase tagline of all time, which is, if you'll allow me, I'm going to take you to the bank, Senator Trent, the blood bank. Which is the greatest catchphrase action line of any action hero actioning ever.
What does that mean?
Look,
I get it. He's going to make him bleed.
We didn't decide on what the meaning was. We just thought it was cool.
Yeah, I get he's going to make him bleed, but
take you to the blood bank.
To the blood bank. By that scenario, like taking him to the sperm bank would mean.
Look. Don't go that way. We're doing the show, and me, Matt, and Justin, my co-host on the show, we were just talking about Steven Seagal for some reason, and automatically, we all three of us said that line, and we're like, wait, you remember Hard to Kill? You remember Hard to Kill? We're doing a Hard to Kill commentary.
Let's go now.
Let's go. We ran down the pole like Ghostbusters and went to but no. I think Casey Rabbit. I haven't done a lot of research, but I think this is the only movie he's done that's got a sequel. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there is a sequel to Machete.
Well, again, not a Steven Seagal.
And scrolling down his Wikipedia page, I can't see any of the sequels on there.
Right.
But what I imagine some of his films might have had like straight to DVD films.
Maybe that's why I was worried.
He's not part of the sequel.
Fire Down Below Part 3 or whatever.
The Glimmer Man 2 or something.
The Glimmer Man 2.
Still glimmering.
Glimmering on. He's shinier.
Fire further down below.
On deadlier ground. There's got to be something on there.
It's 3/4 past dead.
I think you need to watch On Deadly Ground. I have to watch it again. We might do a commentary about you on because you know who's in On Deadly Ground. You know who's in that.
I don't. Movie. I know nothing about any other Steven Seagal film.
A new actor on the scene named Michael Caine.
Oh, hell yeah.
As the heavy. Yeah.
Looking at that, John C. McGinley, Ollie Ermey, Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mike Starr, this film.
Here's the thing about Steven Seagal is we're going to notice in this movie, and I watched the sequel to this movie maybe 15 minutes ago. I just finished it. They have stellar casts for some reason. I guess to carry him. Because if you look at his films, Michael Caine's the bad guy. The dude from in Dark Territory, the dude from Dune, and People Under the Stairs, and the guy from Succession. I forget.
Everett McGill.
No, Eric Bogan. I can't.
Everett McGill is the guy from People Under the Stairs.
Yeah, Everett McGill's one of the bad guys. There's two. There's Everett McGill.
Eric Bogosian is what.
Yeah, him.
Yeah,
awesome. Okay. The dude from Breaking Bad is in the cameo role. The dude from Usual Suspects is in there. Michael Morris, Katherine Heigl's his niece.
It's Kurtwood Smith. Jonathan Banks. Yeah, okay.
Jonathan Banks. The cast
Morris
of his
Chestnut.
Morris Chestnut. Yeah, the cast of his movies are always like really good. Fire Down Below.
Green? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Fire Down Below. Stephen Graham is the bad guy. It's just like, where does Steven Seagal keep getting these people? Why do they keep signing up for these movies? And this movie, especially, where you have the two-hander of Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey. One of them would have sufficed. You got two.
Oh, and then you have like the likes of Cole Meany, who I adore from Die Hard 2.
Who's an accountant murderer.
Yep. You've got Glenn Morshower in a small role, Bernie Casey.
Let me ask you a question. Was that the youngest you've ever seen Morshower?
It's the most ginger I've ever seen him, certainly.
Because I was like, that's the Transformers guy.
He walks on and I'm blinded by this orange light coming from his head. Like, oh my god, what's... Oh.
It's like looking into the Ark of the Covenant. He is so ginger. I think he's 20 years old in that movie.
Maybe. But he just disappears. He's like, got opening scene. As Seagal says, he's only here for another week. He's going to miss seeing this guy go through puberty. The room erupts in hysterical laughter.
Like it's the funniest joke he's ever told
And
ever.
then we never
like
see
Eddie
him
Murphy
again.
was there.
That's it. The guy just went and he just hidden in shame for the rest of the film. He couldn't. Oh, there's no coming back from that.
And he says puberty to him, and I'm like, he's like, he looks 30 years older than you. What are you talking about? What are you talking? This joke makes no sense. It makes no sense.
15. When was this film? Yeah, he was 30 in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like
Seagal, or are you talking about
33.
Morshower? Look, I wasn't focused on Morshower. Okay?
This is the Glenn Morshower film Under Siege. Seagal in this is 40 upon release.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
my god. I guess he's aging well. I don't know. I've seen him recently.
I haven't seen him of late. He looks good in this for a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
Is he supposed to be Cajun? Is this? Because he puts on an accent
does that.
a little bit.
I mean, in Out for Justice, another Steven Seagal film you probably need to watch, he does like an Italian thing, and then Mark for Death, he does this kind of Brooklyn thing. So his accent's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Transmogrify, maybe a little bit. So I guess Cajun, because after watching Dark Territory, the sequel to this movie, you find out his brother was from Ohio, which means I'm thinking he's from Ohio, which is about as far from New Orleans as you can possibly be in America. So I don't know where the Cajuns come.
When I watched this with my wife, and she didn't know who Steven Seagal was, let alone seen a film.
God bless her. God bless her. What a
Which
charmed
actually,
life.
the same with Gary Busey. This was an experience. I'm sure she's seen a Gary Busey film before, but just kind of forgotten it. I think she's seen Lethal Weapon, but
Right.
But so the cover of the DVD is Seagal, half of his face in shadow, looking out in his navy whites.
Right.
And she thought, well, she was like half an hour into the film. She told me, like, when's Tom Cruise going to show up in this film?
Oh, holy God, it's a better movie. That's a better movie. Tom Cruise shows up.
Because I see that there are some similarities, dark hair, and there are some other, but I just make this talk.
He could have been flying the plane. Remember, there's a plane in there somewhere.
He could have been.
Maverick.
He's not, but he could have been.
So the thing about this movie is I kind of like Navy stuff. I saw Das Boot when I was way too young. I like Crimson Tide.
I saw Das Boot like 3 years ago.
Yeah, oh wow, yeah. I think I saw that when I was 10. So I had HBO, so they used to just leave me in a room for hours. I just watched TV, and Das Boot came on. Anything having to do with like on the Red October, even Greyhound, the Tom Hanks movie. I like that camaraderie stuff, and I kind of really, even though his jokes are bad, his camaraderie with the crew is like real good. I was like, man, you could have expanded this a little bit more, where you get to see why they like him. Because it seems like everybody likes him except for Morshower and Gary Busey, and that's it.
Well, that's it. You can kind of tell who the bad guys are because they're the ones that don't like Steven Seagal.
Yeah, if you don't like Casey Ryback, you're evil. You're an evil person.
I always like watching a film and working out at what point is it absolutely 100% clear who the villain is. And it's like, the first scene we see Gary Busey in, he doesn't like Casey Ryback. That's all we think. But then from there, he spits in the bouillabaisse.
Yeah, that scene is disturbing.
He's just a horrible person all around. Yeah. It's not pleasant. So let's run through. Actually, one other cast member we haven't mentioned, like Troy Evans is a guy who stands out to me because he played Frank in ER, and anytime he's like one of the receptionists in ER. So anytime any actor who was in ER a lot appears on screen, my wife and I just have to be like, hey, he's in ER, because we watched all 15 seasons like back to back.
He's the one that goes, I'm with you, Casey.
Yes, exactly. He's the first guy on board, yeah.
I'm with you, Casey. We're going to run into gunfire. I'm with you, Casey.
I don't mind. I got nothing to live for. This is all I got. Let's go.
Everybody else is like, Casey, why don't we just sit for backup there? No. We're going to go right into gunfire.
And the way that my wife describes Steven Seagal in the film is that he has an unusually distributed face.
That may be the greatest description of Steven Seagal ever.
I didn't know how to respond to that other than to write it down.
What do you say? Even if you told that to his face, or his disproportionate face, what would he say to her? I guess I do have a disproportionate face.
You got a point.
Wow, I didn't notice it before. Now I'm looking at myself. I can't.